Well, joining me now is Liberal MP Andrew Wallace. Andrew, thanks for your time. I'm not the only person fed up with Penny Wong. Israel's Foreign Minister has had enough of her too, the pair being involved in a, quote, sharp verbal clash during a phone call yesterday. According to Israel's Foreign Minister, Penny Wong accused Israel of not doing enough humanitarian work for the Arabs of Gaza. Andrew, I thought the Arabs of Gaza were holding Israelis hostage.
Well, James, thanks for having me on the program. And of course, your editorial was just absolutely spot on. I don't know where Penny Wong's moral compass is. You are absolutely right there. She is so far left of centre on the issue of Israel and its importance to the West. Look, there are very few people that I speak to, certainly in Queensland, that understand where she is coming from or that agree with her. By all accounts, Penny Wong received a real dressing down from the Israeli Foreign Minister on Tuesday, and so he should give her a dressing down because she has been the main architect. As our Foreign Minister, she has been the main architect of a almost total breakdown in diplomatic relations between two very strong allies. Now, can you imagine, and I wanted you to hark back your viewers to hark back memories of the absolute shellacking that the Labor Party gave us for our strong stance that we took in the coalition on China. And, look, very, very different circumstances, but Penny Wong and Anthony Albanese held themselves out to be the big persons on the diplomatic world stage. But Penny Wong has overseen and caused not just a huge breakdown in diplomatic relations between our two important countries, but more importantly, perhaps, the almost total disintegration of trust in Jewish Australians and the Labor Party and the Australian government. Look, it's no secret that the Jewish community have been strong supporters of the Labor Party and the left side of politics for decades. I could not tell you a person, a member of the Jewish community who has not expressed to me after I've had discussions with them about their immense distrust of Anthony Albanese and particularly Penny Wong and this entire Labor government. They feel as though they have been absolutely sold out by this government, and for very good reason. They have literally demonised the state of Israel, and they've overseen by their total inaction, they've overseen a rise in anti-Semitism in Australia, which has led to things like the Hadass synagogue firebombing and the firebombing of vehicles in Sydney. This, make no mistake, James, this is on the head of Penny Wong and Anthony Albanese.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, but you've just answered the next question I was going to ask, which is about the link between Penny Wong's rhetoric and voting in the United Nations and the anti-Semitism we're seeing here in Australia. And it beggars belief that people can't see a direct link between those two things. As I said, it's very difficult to tut-tut protesters and their anti-Semitism when you've got the language coming out from Penny Wong, for instance, where she put Israel in the same basket of deplorables as China and Russia. So the sooner Penny Wong disappears from the scene, the better off the Middle East will be, and certainly the better off social cohesion here will be. Let's move on to another subject, and obviously the topic of the day, really, which was the budget update. I'll be speaking to an economist in a moment, but I wanted to get your reaction to that update. A budget deficit over the next 4 years that will be $22 billion worse than forecast in May, just 6 months ago. Government spending up by $58 billion this financial year. Andrew, these are pretty bleak numbers announced today with a smile from Jim Chalmers.
Well, Jim Chalmers has got nothing other than spin and his smile. The reality is we have now got budget deficits for as long as the eye can see. We have got budget deficits over the forward estimates of $139.5 billion estimated, projected. So, this MyEFO report released today is the national credit card statement that's arrived in everybody's letterbox. This demonstrates unequivocally that Labor, if you didn't already know, that Labor have lost control of our economy. They are spending like drunken sailors. We've heard economist after economist talking about the importance of the need for restraint. We've got a situation, of course, where ASIC has identified that 26,000 small businesses have gone under. They've gone into insolvency under this Prime Minister. It's the largest number of insolvencies in Australian history. And the largest number of those were just in the month of November. So, we talk a lot about the cost of living for households, and rightly so. But what people don't seem to recognise, particularly those who've never worked in small business, and I've been in small business for 30 years before I went into politics, when you're in small business and you've got a cost of living crisis, you are having to deal with it's a double whammy, because not only are your energy prices and everything going through the roof at home, but you're faced with the same situation on the office at work or in the warehouse at work, whatever it might be. It's a double whammy, and that's why we're seeing, because of this government's absolute reckless economic and particularly its energy policies, we're seeing unprecedented numbers of businesses going to the wall, and that breaks my heart, because I know how much mums and dads have put blood, sweat and tears into those businesses. 26,000 businesses gone under as a result of Anthony Albanese. That is an albatross that Australians should hang around his neck come the next election.
Andrew, just before we finish, I want to ask you quickly about nuclear power. Yesterday I explained how there was a war of words between Chalmers and Dutton over the coalition's nuclear energy plan. Today, the Treasurer went further. Have a listen to this.
Queenslanders don't want to be anywhere near Peter Dutton's nuclear meltdown. The LNP in Queensland have said no way to nuclear in Queensland. That's the most recent thing. And before that, Peter Dutton either deliberately lied or he had absolutely no idea about his own modelling of his only policy. He said yesterday that in the frontier modelling, prices for electricity will go down by 44%. That is a complete lie, or it's an absolutely humiliating mistake.
First of all, I've got to say I'm really sick of these clever puns. Voters don't want to be part of Dutton's nuclear meltdown. Just give us a break and talk to us like we're adults rather than children. But the frontier modelling he's referring to, of course it doesn't show household power prices will go down by 44%. And Dutton, when he announced the policy, never claimed that it did. He said the modelling shows the overall cost of the coalition's nuclear plan is 44% cheaper than Labor's renewables only plan. Is that correct?
That is absolutely spot on, James. And, look, it's really disingenuous for Jim Chalmers to have said what he said, because Peter Dutton has never, and he's been at great pains to say that, this is not going to reduce power prices by a particular figure. But what he has been very clear about is that the cost of our energy policy in relation to renewables, gas and nuclear, all in the mix, according to Frontier Economics, is 44% cheaper, $263 billion cheaper than what Chris Bowen is putting forward. It is totally disingenuous for Jim Chalmers to have said what he said. But anyway, look, that's Jim Chalmers. It is very, very clear, listening to Jim Chalmers today and Katie Gallagher in the last couple of days, they are shrill. They are starting to hit the panic stations, because they realise that Peter Dutton is getting a lot more traction as opposition leader than what they expected. And Peter Dutton is someone who has been very, very clear. He's effectively leading government policy from opposition. We have dragged them kicking and screaming on very important policies like energy, like industrial relations, like the care and safety and security of our Jewish community, the care and safety of our young people online. Any number of issues that Peter Dutton has led from the front in opposition. And I think finally the Labor Party is starting to realise, maybe we've got a bit of a problem here.
Yeah, Andrew Wallace, I reckon you might be right about that. Thanks for joining me tonight. Appreciate your time.
Thanks,
from the
James.
Sunshine Coast. Beautiful, beautiful part of the country.
Authorised by Andrew Wallace, LNP, Boccarina, Queensland.